Long ago, in a peaceful town beside a wide river, there lived a merchant named Victor. Victor was the richest man in the town. He owned many shops. He owned many warehouses. He owned ships that traveled across the sea. Every day, people came to buy spices, silk, jewelry, and many other goods from him. Yet despite all his wealth, Victor was never satisfied. Every morning, he looked at his gold coins and wished for more. Every evening, he counted his money and worried that someone else might become richer than him. His workers often said, "Master Victor, you already have more than enough." But Victor always replied, "There is no such thing as enough." The more money he earned, the more he wanted. The more successful he became, the greedier he grew. Soon, people began to notice his change. He paid his workers less. He raised prices for customers. He refused to help anyone in need. Even when a poor family asked for food, he turned them away. "My money is mine," he would say. "If I give it away, I will have less." The townspeople respected his wealth, but they no longer respected his heart. And Victor did not care. All he cared about was becoming richer. Little did he know, his greed was about to teach him a lesson he would never forget. One rainy afternoon, an old traveler arrived in town. His clothes were simple. His hair was gray. He carried only a small bag. The traveler walked into Victor's largest shop. Victor immediately noticed him. The merchant looked at the traveler and frowned. "This man looks poor," he thought. "He probably cannot buy anything." The traveler smiled. "Good afternoon, sir." Victor nodded coldly. "What do you want?" The old man looked around the shop. Then he said softly, "I have heard that you are the richest merchant in the region." Victor smiled proudly. "That is true." The traveler nodded. "Then perhaps you can answer a question." Victor crossed his arms. "What question?" The old man asked. "How much gold is enough?" Victor laughed. "What kind of foolish question is that?" The traveler smiled. "Please, answer." Victor thought for a moment. Then he said, "There is never enough gold." The old traveler nodded slowly. "I see." Then he left without saying another word. Victor laughed at the strange visitor, but somehow the question stayed in his mind. How much gold is enough? The next morning, Victor found something unusual outside his door. It was an old map. Attached to it was a note. The note read, "For the man who can never have enough." Victor unfolded the map. It showed a hidden location deep in the mountains. At the end of the map was a symbol of a golden treasure chest. Victor's eyes widened. "A hidden treasure!" His heart raced with excitement. "If I find this treasure, I will become even richer." Without wasting time, he prepared for the journey. He packed food, he packed water, and most importantly, he packed several empty sacks to carry gold. Victor was certain this would be the greatest discovery of his life. He did not know that the treasure waiting for him was not what he expected. The road through the mountains was long and difficult. Victor walked for hours, then days. The further he traveled, the harder the journey became. He crossed rivers. He climbed steep cliffs. He walked through thick forests. Along the way, he met people who needed help. An old woman struggled to carry firewood. A farmer's cart was stuck in mud. A hungry child sat crying beside the road. Each time, Victor refused to help. "I don't have time. I must find the treasure." His greed pushed him forward. Nothing else mattered, or so he thought. After many days, Victor finally reached a hidden cave. Inside, he discovered mountains of gold. Gold coins, golden statues, golden jewelry, more treasure than he had ever imagined. Victor shouted with joy, "I am rich!" Then he laughed. "No, I am richer than rich." Quickly, he filled one sack, then another, then another. But something strange happened. As he filled the sacks, they became heavier, much heavier than normal. Soon, Victor could barely lift them. Still, he kept collecting. His greed would not let him stop. When Victor finally left the cave, the sacks were so heavy that he could hardly walk. Every step was painful. Every hill felt impossible. His shoulders ached, his back hurt, his feet bled. Yet he refused to leave any gold behind. As night fell, a storm arrived. Rain poured from the sky. The path became slippery. Victor stumbled and fell. One sack rolled into a river. Another fell down a cliff. Victor cried out in despair, "My gold!" But the treasure was gone. For the first time, he felt helpless. Cold and exhausted, Victor sat beneath a tree. He had lost most of his treasure. He had little food. He was far from home. For the first time in many years, he was completely alone. As he sat there, he remembered the people he had ignored: the old woman, the farmer, the hungry child. He wondered what would have happened if he had shown kindness. Perhaps someone would help him now. But there was nobody, only silence and regret. The next morning, Victor heard footsteps. To his surprise, the old traveler appeared, the same traveler from the shop. The old man smiled. "You seem tired." Victor lowered his head. "I have lost everything." The traveler sat beside him. "No." Victor looked confused. "What do you mean?" The traveler pointed toward the mountains. "You lost gold." Then he pointed toward Victor's chest. "But what have you lost inside here?" Victor said nothing. The traveler continued. "Greed has already taken much more from you than gold." The traveler helped Victor return to town. Along the way, he shared food with him. He shared water. He shared kindness. Things Victor had never valued before. Finally, Victor asked, "Why are you helping me?" The traveler smiled. "Because helping others makes the world better." Victor felt ashamed. He realized that the traveler, who owned very little, was happier than he had ever been. At that moment, Victor understood something important. The greatest treasure was not gold. It was kindness, friendship, generosity, and peace of mind. When Victor returned home, he was a changed man. He raised his workers' wages. He lowered prices. He helped families in need. He donated food to the poor. He listened to people. He treated everyone with respect. At first, the townspeople were surprised, but over time, they saw that his change was real. Years later, Victor was still wealthy. But now, he was known for something much greater than money. He was known for his kindness, and for the first time in his life, he felt truly rich, because he finally understood the answer to the traveler's question. How much gold is enough? The answer was simple. Enough is when you no longer need more to be happy. Moral of the story: greed can fill your pockets, but it can empty your heart. True wealth is found not in what you keep, but in what you give. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to reflect on its message. Sometimes the greatest treasures are not the ones we can hold in our hands, but the kindness we share and the love we give. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next inspiring journey. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what do you think is the greatest treasure in life? Thank you for listening. Until our next story, take care of yourself, be kind to others, and remember, true wealth begins in the heart.